care about people, even when you're struggling, says a lot about your heart. It also, the way that you show up for others, even when you're tired, is something that not everybody does. That effort, even though sometimes it goes unnoticed, it matters more that you know and that you're making a difference just by being you. Now, kindness is one of the easiest things that we can actually give to other people, and other people need it. We're living in a skeptical, cynical society where the urgent, the crisis, and the chaos seem to be the fashion fare of today. I mean, when you look at what's going on in the political realm, for example, a couple of days ago, my prime minister met with President Trump. And that was a very interesting meeting. Now, it didn't turn out to be, the type of meeting that, let's say, for example, Mr. Zelensky was dealing with, but it was interesting to see the interaction between the two leaders. Now, the one thing that Mr. Carney wanted to make absolutely clear was the fact that Canada is not for sale. And he brought that about. Mr. Carney also had a meeting yesterday with the premiers of Canada, and it was via, of course, video. But what he did do was, basically calm down some of the leadership of this country. And I'm sure that when he was going into that meeting with Mr. Trump, there was a lot of apprehension, a lot of concern, because Mr. Trump, of course, is the president of the largest economy and the most powerful nation in the world. And so, getting along with him is rather important. And Mr. Carney, of course, continued to care about Canadians. And it's important for us not to just, do this when we're feeling energized, when we're feeling like, oh, I can take on the world. Because a lot of times you don't feel that way. But when you still care about people when you're struggling, it really shows a lot of where your heart really is. If your heart's in the right place, if you have allowed your heart to be healed, when you've allowed to have forgiveness flow. And I want to tell you something. Forgiveness is not an easy thing to give. When you're offended, when you're struggling, when you're hurt, did you ever notice that that seems to be when most of the negative people end up in your life? I mean, we've all had someone where we've gone to talk to them about what's happening in our lives. And then all of a sudden, instead of encouraging us, instead of, standing with us, they become a critic. And all of a sudden you feel betrayed and you think, well, I came here to get some, maybe it was some assurance, maybe it was some support, but that's not what you got. And so what happened is, of course, you feel betrayed. You're struggling. And the first thing you need to do is to forgive. Okay? Just plain forgive. And the reason why you need to forgive is because not for their benefit, but for your benefit. You need to walk in peace. Don't carry those weights. Don't carry those burdens. That's why Peter said, for example, cast all your cares on the Lord, for he cares for you. So when you are caring about people, even when you're struggling, it shows where your heart is. And the way that you show up for others when you're tired is not something everyone does. One of the things that I have found these days with a lot of folks is the fact that they are long on promise and short on delivery. Let me give you an example. When we were doing a choir in our church, we said, we're going to have a choir. We're going to set up a choir. Well, we had about 40 people that showed up for that first choir practice. Then they found out over the next 2 or 3 choir practices that it required a little bit more dedication than they were willing to give. And I wasn't mad at the people in any way. I just understood human nature. By the time we did our presentation, what happened was we had about 15 people. 2 of them was my wife and myself. So the simple fact is that, even when you're tired, show up. Even when you're feeling like, I don't really want to do this, do it. And especially if you promise to do it. Because one of the problems that we're dealing with, especially these days, is that people don't think that their word doesn't mean anything anymore. In the ancient world, when you gave your word, it was a reflection of your character. So these days, we have a lot of people that are lacking on character. Don't you be one of those people. You see, you may feel that effort that you're making, when you encourage people, when you're struggling, when you are tired, and yet you still show up. It may feel unnoticed, but it matters more than you know. There'll be times where people may not always remember what you said to them, but they'll always remember how you made them feel. Love is patient, love is kind. It's not always easy to love. It's not always easy to be a person of integrity. It's not easy to be a person who follows through with what you say. But when you do it, it's not a reflection of society. It's a reflection of your heart. It's a reflection of the choices that you've made. You've decided, I'm not going to be like everybody else. I'm going to treat people the way that I want to be treated. And when you make that decision, it just flips the whole script. All of a sudden, you're not this selfish, skeptical, cynical person anymore. You're becoming engaging. You're becoming a person who cares. And it's not easy to do, especially if you have been hurt in some manner or some form. A lot of people, when they get hurt, you know what they do? They withdraw. Oh, I'm not going to let that happen again. And as soon as you do that, you know what you're doing? You're building a wall. As soon as you're doing it, you are allowing that unforgiveness and that incident to begin to rule your life. Sooner or later, you're going to have to deal with it because it will colorize everything that you do. So it's important the way that you care about people, even when you're struggling. It talks about your heart and your character. The way that you show up for others when you're plain tired is something that not everybody else does. And it will, of course, mark you as someone who is trustworthy, someone that they can, be able to have in their lives. And you will have people wanting to be your friend because of that. And also as well, even if it's going unnoticed, it matters more than you know, because you're just making a difference by just being you. And that's so important. I can't tell you what kind of person you're going to become or the choices that you make. You make those choices. But I want you to think very seriously about what type of person you really want to be and what type of impact you want to make in your world today. When I always talk about in your world, I'm talking about the people that you meet, the people that you interact with, your friendships, your family. That's what I'm talking about today. You are the one that makes that choice. And you are the one who makes the choice on how you react to negative things in your lives. You can let them destroy you, or you can rise above them, and you can use them as stepping stones towards even a better you. Just think about that. Well, if you like what you've been hearing and seeing, I always encourage you to press the like button and subscribe to my YouTube channel. My name is Robert Dean Steele. Thanks for spending time with me today.